not come. Do not come.
I'm gonna come.
All right, everybody, what's up? Welcome, dissidents, one and all, to a special late night edition of the Do Dissidents podcast. Keaton Weiss here with Russell Dobular, of course.
Hello.
All right, so we have some Twitter files drops that we are going to get to. The chat is open here, and so we thank you guys for filing in. Before we do want to make one announcement, which is that our interview with Tara Reid has been postponed until after the new year. One of the reasons why I don't like to start promoting interviews too far in advance is because there's always a chance this might happen. Usually it doesn't, but sometimes it does. Obviously, Tara has a ton of interviews that she has to do, and she has a life of her own, and so she had to push it back until after the new year. But we will be interviewing Tara Reid by mid-January, and the good thing about that is that not only will her story not lose relevance between now and then, but it very well could gain relevance, because by the time we interview her, there is going to be a Republican Congress which will be empowered to investigate her story as she is asking them to do. So it's quite possible that, that interview will be more relevant in 1 month than it would be tomorrow. So that is postponed, but it will happen. We have been in touch, and it will absolutely happen. So don't worry, but it will not be happening tomorrow. So that's our program note. Tonight,
it's not very Christmassy anyway.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Exactly. Pardon me. We are going to be on Thursday. We have an interview planned with some union members on Thursday, and we have a regular show for Thursday. And then we'll be off Sunday. Obviously, Sunday is Christmas, but then we will be live that following week. So, obviously schedules get a little chaotic, especially Russell being the New York tour guide that he is. I think we're going to have to move the Thursday after Christmas probably to Wednesday. We'll probably do a show Wednesday night next week instead of Thursday. Because, this gets very chaotic, because what happens is the tourists come to town for Christmas, and then they stay that week. So New York is pretty jamming between Christmas and New Year's.
There's this one last week of insanity, and then I'm all yours until I go to India.
That's right. Russell will be going to India from mid-February through early March. So I will be auditioning temporary co-hosts while he is away.
Yeah, so if any of you want to take a shot at my crown...
Yeah, right, exactly.
The throne is going to be open.
The throne will be open. Although you'll be able to do some shows from India.
I believe so. I am actually in the process of looking into how to best manage my cell phone connection. So now you have like eSIM. So you can connect to a local provider in India, but you have to activate it on your phone. So I'm actually working through that right now. I should be fine. It would be cool. I got to look at how the days line up. Like, I'm going to be out in the desert for 2 days. That would be amazing if we did a show from the middle of the Thar Desert in Northwest India. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be pretty crazy. That'd be a pretty crazy technological feat as well, if we can pull that off.
It really would. Probably we're going to have to get the intern before then.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
To work that out.
All right, so let's dig into these Twitter files here. This is Twitter files part 8 by The Intercept's Lee Fang, and this is a short volume, but just like volume 7, this is another bombshell. It's another smoking gun, and unlike a lot of the previous installments, this is really something that, if the left weren't as close-minded as it is nowadays, they would be pushing as well, because all of the themes of this recent drop are anti-militarism, anti-imperialism, right? And that's probably why Lee took it and ran with it. But, so far haven't seen much Haven't seen much.
And it's not even the kind of thing that, from a shitlib perspective, you can actually defend. It's not like they were running disinformation ops against Hugo Chavez. Like that, they can find their way clear to getting behind. This is backing up Saudi Arabia in its genocidal war against Yemen. That's what Twitter was helping them do. Run psyops to assist them in that.
Helping gin up anti-Iran sentiment to try to cook up another war, in the Middle East. Yeah.
Yeah, there's absolutely no way to justify it, which means they're just going to ignore it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know there's going to be some in the audience who say, well, the left isn't closed-minded. It's the liberals who are closed-minded. Yeah, I know, the semantical difference. So here's what I'm going to do. I believe I'm going to do this tomorrow. Since we're not going to have Tara on tomorrow, I feel like we owe you guys a show tomorrow, even though we're doing a show tonight. All right. And by the way, tip jar is out. Super chats really help. Patreon.com/DuoDissidents. Here, while I'm plugging tomorrow's show, I'm going to give the patrons a shout out. We did add one patron between yesterday's show and today. Her name is Deborah. Deb, you are not on the scroll yet.
We were very surprised that Deborah Messing is a fan of the show.
Yeah, right, exactly.
We were shocked. We did not expect that. She says Alyssa Milano might be coming over for an interview.
Yeah, right. Yeah, absolutely. Deb, I believe her last initial is G, so I will put you on the scroll. Yes, Deborah G. I'll put you on the scroll for the end of the show. But thank you for signing up. While this is going across, what I'm going to do is, I think tomorrow night at 8 p.m., what I'm going to do is I'm going to premiere a sort of From the Vault audio podcast that I recorded in the summer of 2020, where I spell out the difference between a leftist and a liberal. I was re-listening to it today while I was working just to make sure it came out good enough because, sometimes, when you do something 2 years ago and you listen to it now, you're like, oh man, what a moron.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think it holds up decently well. And so I'm going to premiere that as an audio podcast. I'll still put it up on YouTube with a graphic, but back then it was just an audio show. We didn't do YouTube back then. So it'll just be an audio podcast, but I just want it out there so that I can refer people to it whenever they start busting our balls. Oh, you mean the liberals don't care about imperialism, not the left. And
yeah, we know.
Yes, we know. We know. But what I will say is that back in summer of 2020, maybe it's because the Bernie campaign had just ended and a lot of the left, the real left, was focused on that campaign. There was a much clearer line between liberals and leftists back then than there is now. Unfortunately, most of that left Bernie movement has been absorbed into liberal perspectives. Right?
Yeah.
Whether they are full-throated Biden people or not, they buy the general line, right? They're hair on fire over Elon Musk, hair on fire over the Trump letter or January 6th, blah, blah, blah. Like, if you go on a lot of the Bernie groups now, they're talking about that shit, right? They're not talking about the workers who just got screwed over on the railroads, right? I mean, you don't see as much of that. So, but I think it would still be good to put out there this podcast just for the record so that whenever somebody busts our balls about that, we just have a link to send them. And if you want to watch, we'll set it up as a premiere, so there will be a live chat and everything. It won't be live, but it's about 40 minutes long. So I'll put it up at 8 p.m. tomorrow night.
Well, somebody said that the whole Bernie movement, everyone should just get out of it because they were being sheepdogged into the Democratic Party. Who said that? Who was the early prophet of that point of view? Jimmy Dore.
That would have been Jimmy Dore.
That was Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore said he foresaw all of this. Say what you like about him, but he was saying that at a time when most of us were like, "Shut the fuck up, Jimmy. Come on, man. We're gonna do this inside out thing. Look, we elected AOC. Look at her. Look at her in Pelosi's office." He was right. He called it.
Indeed. All right. Should we get started?
Let's rock and roll.
All right. Here, let's make this happen. The Twitter Files Part 8, reported by Lee Fang, how Twitter quietly aided the Pentagon's covert online PSYOP campaign. Despite promises to shut down covert state-run propaganda networks, Twitter docs show that the social media giant directly assisted the U.S. military's influence operation. This is not a long thread. There are only about 21 tweets, so this is not going to be an epic here, but I still think it's very good. Twitter has claimed for years that they make concerted efforts to detect and thwart government-backed platform manipulation. Oh, wonderful. Here is Twitter testifying to Congress about its pledge to rapidly identify and shut down all state-backed covert information operations and deceptive propaganda. We'll read this. Combating attempts to interfere in conversations on Twitter remains a top priority for the company, and we continue to invest heavily in our detection, disruption, and transparency efforts related to state-backed information operations. Our goal is to remove bad faith actors and to advance public understanding of these critical topics. Twitter defines state-backed information operations as coordinated platform manipulation efforts that can be attributed with a high degree of confidence to state-affiliated actors. State-backed information operations are typically associated with misleading, deceptive, and spammy behavior. These behaviors differentiate coordinated manipulative behavior from legitimate speech on behalf of individuals and political parties. Whenever we identify inauthentic activity on Twitter that meets our definition of an information op, and which we are able to confidently attribute to actors associated with a government, we share comprehensive data about this activity. All right, tweet number 3. But behind the scenes, Twitter gave approval, and special protection to the U.S. military's online psychological influence ops, despite knowledge that Pentagon propaganda used covert identities. Twitter did not suspend many Pentagon propaganda accounts for around 2 years or more. Some of these accounts remain active. All right, so everybody has got that. They say, "Oh yeah, we're gonna crack down on bad actors that spread state propaganda, state misinformation." Of course, what they mean by that are Russian state media, Chinese state media, not us, not American media, not the American military, not the Defense Department. Creating you really can't even call it media. They're creating these fake identities that are set up to promote Western narrative.
Well, this is just an extension of what they've done to the news. God, can you imagine if a guy like Musk bought CNN and released their records of collusion and coordination between the government and their news coverage? We got a little taste of that with the DNC leaks. I believe that's where you saw some of the back and forth between the Clinton campaign telling CNN what kind of coverage they wanted and MSNBC leaning on them whenever they covered them unfavorably. That was just a taste. Could you imagine if we actually got a look at the internal emails of MSNBC or CNN or the New York Times or the Washington Post? If this is what you're seeing at Twitter, imagine what you would see there. And this is something I want to recommend to people. If I get a minute, I'll drop a link in the chat. There's a guy, Ryan Chapman. Yeah, he has a kind of medium-sized account. He does philosophy lectures that are pretty good and pretty interesting. Like he'll do a half hour on what is Marxism. That are pretty strong and comprehensible. But he just did one. He just dropped it. Why do people hate Elon Musk so much? And he makes some good points. He talks about, really this should be a billionaire that people who are liberals really like. He makes all of his technology. I didn't know this. He makes all of his technology open source because he believes that everybody should be able to improve on this and make better electric cars and better solar, because he believes that's what's going to be needed to save the planet. So why do they hate this person so much? Because it's not like us who categorically have an issue with billionaires, period. The liberals don't have that issue.
Right.
They don't have an issue with billionaires. And he illustrated we're living in these very polarized times where left and right have gone further and further. And so all it took was for Musk to start trolling these people and not playing along with them and starting to say the wokeness is a mind virus that has to be defeated. That's it. As soon as he put out that cultural signaling, going and talking to Joe Rogan, that's it. That's it. You're persona non grata. Now, do these people have an issue with Jeff Bezos, who has kind of destroyed a lot of the American economy, a lot of small town America, horribly mistreats his workers, union busting, making it very difficult for them to unionize? If they had an issue with Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, okay, fair enough. But that's us. We have an issue with Elon Musk, but not their issue. Not right. The things that they take exception to with Elon Musk are the only things to recommend Elon Musk. Those are actually the good things about Elon Musk. But what's really...
yeah, that's what Mika says here. I want to put that up. Blew up the DNC FBI propaganda party. That's basically right, I think.
And
that's more or less it.
And I can't think of another case where someone in his position went off the reservation like this, where he just turned, look, you're a billionaire. You're supposed to make nice with power, right? Because you need them to give you favorable regulations. You need them to give you favorable taxation. So they never do this. They never piss in the punch bowl this way. You're never going to see Jeff Bezos express a political opinion of any meaningful character. Do you have any idea what Bezos's politics are? Does anybody?
Right, of course.
He's not. You'll never see him do that. His politics are, I'm a fucking narcissist and I need as much money as I can possibly suck out of the society without anybody really paying attention to what I'm doing. That's his politics. And he does whatever he needs to do for that.
Yeah, and they especially won't do this, like this particular leak, this right. Twitter Files Volume 8, where you're exposing the ties between the Pentagon and big business. This is something that no one wants to touch, and that the left should be very, very happy that they went there. Right? There was a report that came out in 2015 saying that the Pentagon paid $7 million to the NFL to get them to promote these very jingoistic, patriotic events, like the national anthem. We're going to create a huge American flag that covers the whole field, right? Like I said, that was actually funded by the DOD. The DOD actually paid the NFL to basically campaign for them on the football stadiums. Right. And so, and look, a couple years after that, what happened? Colin Kaepernick takes a knee and, oh, how dare he? Right. Because these people have been fucking ginned up with this propaganda, this warmongering fucking bullshit. Right. This is woven into the fabric of American culture. This is stuff that no one wants to touch. No one wants to go there. No one wants to shine a light on, hey, the Pentagon is brainwashing you. Right. The fact that Musk went there, I mean, got to give credit there. Got to give credit there. And if you're really on the left, anybody who's on the left, even nominally, even a lib, right? You should be upset about this. You should be upset to know that the Pentagon is spreading militaristic, imperialistic, which, by the way, is not so woke, right? Imperialism isn't all that woke. It tends to be pretty unwoke. Right.
Well,
spreading propaganda through these social media companies. Yeah, you would think even the libs would cry foul at that.
9 out of 10 murder civilians choose American bombs over the competition.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So they've just released that as a study. This really shows you, and if you look at other people in Elon Musk's space, the big corporate CEO space, Boeing literally effectively murdered airline passengers. They knew that the Boeing 757, I believe it is, the 757 MAX, they knew it was dangerous. The Boeing CEO is the mayor in Jaws with that airplane. He
Right.
knew
Yeah.
that plane was not safe to fly. And even after it crashed, he let it keep flying and he killed more people. That man should be in prison for life. No ifs, no ands, no buts. That CEO, you don't want to talk about. I haven't heard a word about lock up this CEO. I haven't seen any of the liberals talk about how this CEO murdered innocent civilians. So until you want to talk about some of these other people, I don't want to hear anything about Elon Musk. Like, we take exception to Elon Musk because, yeah, I mean, he's kind of a douchebag, but he represents a system that we don't approve of or agree with. We don't really think anybody should be that rich. We don't think anyone should be that powerful. If you want to make the argument, as some of them are making now, that no, like Chris Hayes, I think he wrote that in his article, nobody should have this kind of power. You're right. You're absolutely right. But you only have a problem with it because he's exposing things you don't want to exposed. He's rocking the boat. If you had a systemic critique, I'd say, wow, welcome to the club. That's great. Let's start having that. But you don't. You don't. You have an Elon Musk critique. And at that point, I'm sorry. I'm looking at you people. If you're forcing us to pick sides, yeah, we're going to side with Elon Musk.
All right. Well, I got to get to the super chat. Axel, Brandon, thank you for the $2, my friend. All of this on the heels of another failed audit. Yes, and an $858 billion budget that just went through. Speaking of Elon Musk, we do have some news to break here.
Those hammers are made out of vibranium, don't you know?
The New York Times says Elon Musk says he will resign as Twitter CEO when he finds a successor. So there you go. I guess Vox Populi, Vox Dei, after all. But as Russell pointed out in the last show,
it was the MCAT. Just a correction from Zachary. It was the 737 Max.
737 Max, yes. Yes. As Russell said in last night's stream, he still owns the company, so he will still have power within the organization, obviously, but he will not be the acting CEO once he finds a successor. All right, in 2017, oops, I almost screwed it up there. In 2017, a U.S. Central Command, which will from here on be referred to as CENTCOM, officially sent Twitter a list of 52 Arab language accounts, quote, we use to amplify certain messages. The official asked for priority service for 6 accounts, verification for 1, and whitelist abilities for the other. He'll go on to explain what that is. The same day CENTCOM sent the list, Twitter officials used the tool to grant a special whitelist tag that essentially provides verification status to the accounts without the blue check, meaning they are exempt from spam and abuse flags. That's a very special privilege, more visible and likely to trend on hashtags. I wish we can get one of those. I wonder how much Elon would charge for one of those. Yeah, he's charging $8 for the blue check. How do you get the whitelist? That's got to be like $1,000 a month.
Well, this
it's the Pentagon. Maybe it's like, who knows? Maybe it's $3 million a month.
This actually explains something on YouTube that we've speculated on, because, for example, when the Young Turks decide to talk about fans of the playground, they don't have to use any code words. So the algo must literally be set differently for certain people.
Yeah, that could very well be true. And here you have it, a whitelist tag that makes you more visible and more likely to trend and exempt from the spam and abuse flags. The CENTCOM accounts on the list tweeted frequently about U.S. military priorities in the Middle East, including promoting anti-Iran messages, promotion of the Saudi Arabia U.S.-backed war in Yemen, and quote-unquote accurate, this is a good one, U.S. drone strikes that claim to only hit terrorists. Interesting.
The magic drone strikes.
Yeah, the magic drone strikes. Yeah, exactly. CENTCOM then shifted strategies and deleted disclosures of ties to the Twitter accounts. Pardon me. The bios of the accounts changed to seemingly organic profiles, One bio read Euphrates Pulse. Another used an apparent deep fake profile pic and claimed to be a source of Iraqi opinion. One Twitter official who spoke to me said he feels deceived by the covert shift. Still, many emails from throughout 2020 show that high-level Twitter executives were well aware of DoD's vast network of fake accounts and covert propaganda and did not suspend the accounts. For example, Twitter lawyer Jim Baker mused in a July 2020 email about an upcoming DoD meeting that the Pentagon used, quote, poor tradecraft in setting up its network and were seeking strategies for not exposing accounts that are, quote, linked to each other or to Department of Defense or the USG. So everybody got that so far? Right?
So you have a former FBI figure, Jim Baker, working at Twitter with the DoD to cover up these accounts on their behalf.
Exactly. All right, here we go. Stacia Cardeal, I hope I'm saying that name. Stacia Cardeal. Another Twitter attorney replied that the Pentagon wanted a SCIF and may want to retroactively classify its social media activities, quote, to obfuscate their activity in this space, and that this may represent an overclassification to avoid embarrassment. In several other 2020 emails, high-level Twitter executives and lawyers discussed the covert network and even recirculated the 2017 list from CENTCOM and shared another list of 157 undisclosed Pentagon accounts, again, mostly focused on Middle East military issues. All right, I got to take a quick game break here. Russell, do you have anything to add to that while I refresh the feed here? I got to find number 12 because I lost it.
Well, it's just building on what we saw from Schellenberger yesterday. Twitter was just rife with these former intelligence agents, which is a parallel, again, to what we've seen in the corporate media. The corporate media is also overrun by these people, only it's not a secret. They call them analysts, right? They promote that as a good thing that this person worked at the CIA. That's like saying, oh, yeah, we have a former Gambino family member here, but he's going to give you the straight dope about what's going on in the Gambinos. He's not working for them or anything.
Right.
He's not spinning it in favor of the Gambino family. No, of course we've hired him. Who better to give us insight into what's going on in the Gambino family than someone who's going to propagandize on their behalf?
Right, exactly. Farine McDonald, why aren't you using the thread mode to read these files? Is there a thread mode? I don't know if there is a thread mode. I'm just following the tweets. But if there's a thread mode, I would love to know what that is. I didn't know there was such a thing. Is there a setting I could... Yeah, maybe this is why Russell and I haven't spent a lot of time on Twitter until recently, because we just don't find it to be very intuitive or very user-friendly. But if there is a thread mode, I will explore that. But thank you. In the meantime, I just went and I found where to pick up here. This is right? Yes. In a May 2020 email, Twitter's Lisa Roman emailed the DoD with two lists. One list was accounts previously provided to us, and another list Twitter detected. The accounts tweeted in Russian and Arabic on U.S. military issues in Syria, ISIS, and many also did not disclose Pentagon ties. Many of these secretive U.S. military propaganda accounts, despite detection by Twitter as late as 2020, but potentially earlier, continued tweeting through this year, some not suspended until May 2022 or later, according to records I reviewed. And once again, that violates the statement that apparently these employees made under oath, which is that they sniff out state propaganda
Right.
and they
Right.
flag it and they get rid of it. Of course, by state propaganda, they meant Eastern state propaganda, right? Not U.S. state propaganda.
Russia or Israel, probably.
They could probably just use that if they ever get nailed for it.
There's more, that didn't become a story. It shows so much of the narrative is the media pulling a shell game. Look
Right.
over here, don't look over here. There's more evidence of Israel interfering in our elections than there is of Russia.
Oh yeah, of course.
I mean, you could, if you wanted to make it evidence-based rather than narrative-based, the media could drum up, look at what Israel's doing to our elections. They won't. They could.
Right.
If you were actually talking about evidence, which we're not.
Right. Of course. In August 2022, a Stanford Internet Observatory report exposed a U.S. military covert propaganda network on Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, and other apps using fake news portals and deepfake images and memes against U.S. foreign adversaries. That sounds a lot like what the Russian trolls did to poor old Hillary Clinton, right?
Yeah.
It sounds very similar.
Yeah.
The U.S. propaganda network relentlessly pushed narratives against Russia, China, and other foreign countries. They accused Iran of threatening Iraq's water security and flooding the country with crystal meth, and of harvesting the organs of Afghan refugees. The Stanford report did not identify all of the accounts in the network, but one they did name was the exact same handle that CENTCOM asked for whitelist privileges in its 2017 email. I verified via Twitter's internal tools. Pardon me. The account used an AI-created deepfake image. This is pretty interesting how they can pick up on this. Figure 46, the profile picture used by the Facebook page Discoverer and two other assets in the Middle East group. Issues with the left ear, so I guess that's over here, and the central alignment of the eyes suggest it was generated using AI techniques. Interesting, because you wouldn't necessarily see that looking at it, but that's why they're good. But then when you do look at it again, it does look a little bit askew, as they say. In subsequent reporting, Twitter was cast as an unbiased hero for removing, quote, a network of fake user accounts promoting pro-Western policy positions. Media covering the story described Twitter as evenly applying its policies and proactive in suspending the DoD network. The reality is much more murky. Twitter actively aided CENTCOM's network going back to 2017, and as late as 2020, knew these accounts were covert and designed to deceive, to manipulate the discourse, a violation of Twitter's policies and promises they waited years to suspend. Twitter's comms team was closely in touch with the reporters working to minimize Twitter's role. When the Washington Post reported on the scandal, which honestly I don't remember them doing this. This was what, 2019?
No,
I don't even recall this happening. Twitter officials congratulated each other because the story didn't mention any Twitter employees and focused largely on the Pentagon. The conduct with the U.S. military's covert network stands in stark contrast with how Twitter has boasted about rapidly identifying and taking down covert accounts tied to state-backed influence operations, including Thailand, Russia, Venezuela, and others since 2016. And then he linked to an article that he wrote in The Intercept, which goes into some more details, although he did a pretty good job in this thread here.
Most of it's in here.
Most of it's in here. Here is my reported piece with more detail.
You should actually take a look at that exhibit because their internal conversation, they're very concerned about not being mentioned.
Oh, this year? Thank you for the flag, Katie. Got it. Thanks. Thank you. Hi there. I hope you're well. We wanted to give you a heads up that the Washington Post will be publishing a piece, most likely this weekend, that sheds more light on the U.S. government aspects of the recent Graphica Stanford report about tech companies removing U.S.-based influence campaigns. It's a story that's mostly focused on DoD and Facebook. However, there will be a couple lines that reference us alongside Facebook and that we reached out to them for a meeting. We don't think they'll tie it to anything Mudge related or name any employees. We declined to comment. I suspect this piece will get more attention in Washington with the DoD angle. I'll keep you posted. And then this is from Rebecca Hahn to her team here. Thanks for doing all that you could to manage this one. It didn't seem to get too much traction beyond Verge, CNN, and WAPO editors promoting. Here's the piece, which I think turned out as expected. And then the article,
okay, so it's one big club, and you ain't in it,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Those reporters didn't fuck their friends at Twitter,
right? Exactly. You know why? Because they are interested in speaking truth to power.
Democracy dies in darkness.
Yeah. Unlike Matt Taibbi, Michael Schellenberger, Barry Weiss, and Lee Fang here.
They're doing PR for the world's richest man.
Right. Yeah, exactly. They're doing PR for the world's richest man. Here is my reported piece with more detail. Yeah, sad. I was given access to Twitter for a few days. I signed, agreed to nothing. Twitter had no input into anything I did or wrote. The searches were carried out by a Twitter attorney, so what I saw could be limited. And then, of course, he picked a good day to start and plug his new Substack, so you can go check out more of Lee's work.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. So that was everything.
One foot out the door at Intercept. Once they start those Substacks, man, they're on the way out as soon as they get enough subscribers.
Yeah,
boom,
that's true.
Out of there.
That's true. Well, that's what I mean. I mean, that's one. These files have been a victory for independent media, really, because you had Taibbi, a Substacker, do it. Barry Weiss was on Substack. Now she has a website. I don't know if she's doing that through Substack. I think it's just the freepress.com. Schellenberger's on Substack, and obviously Lee is doing it now, which is great. It's great. I mean, this is how it has to happen. And, you know, Substack is a free speech platform. That's why we're on Substack, because we can write whatever articles we want. And even if we have a video, this is why I encourage everybody to sign up to our Substack, because if we do want to do content that is maybe a little too hot to the touch for mainstream platforms such as this one, we can put that up on Substack and know that no matter what we say, it's cool. Right? And so we're actually thinking about doing some exclusive Rumble and Substack videos, you know, just so we don't have to worry about it. Right.
Well, you know, it's interesting. If you look at people who are in the kind of entertaining history essay space, who do like, why are Middle Eastern countries divided the way they are? And they'll do 25 minutes on that. A lot of them actually on their subscription service cover things about the history of the Middle East that they can't cover openly on YouTube.
Right.
There's too much danger. It's going to get demonetized if they do.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
I mean, there are many areas like, we cannot get into without risking our channel. There are a lot of things we really can't say.
Yeah, and some of those might have to do with some of these subsequent leaks. I mean, when they put out the Big C leaks, you know, that's going to be tough.
And you know those are coming.
And those are going to be good, and those are going to be tough. So what are we going to do? Make our
lot of
broadcast?
Matzah, Kugel,
yeah, we're going to come with a whole language for that. Jesus Christ. Yeah,
it's going to be the whole menu at the 2nd Avenue Deli. We're going to
use
by the time we're done with this.
Exactly. Mike, thank you for the $10. I appreciate it. Off work tonight and catching you live. Cheers. Well, thank you, Mike. We appreciate that very much. And we got a little crowd in here. If you can like this stream and subscribe to this channel, we're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And right now, where are we at here? Looks like we are 39, 33. So there we go. So we need 67 more. So if you're stumbling upon this channel, we do a lot of Twitter Files coverage. So please hit that like button on the stream, and please hit that subscribe button to the channel. You got nothing to lose. Like I said, costs nothing to hit that subscribe button. You find out you don't like us in a week, you can unsubscribe just as easily. But yeah, that's pretty much what we got. Like I said, this was a short one, but I thought a pretty powerful one. And it's nice to see. I mean, not that we didn't know this was going to happen. Taibbi said it was going to happen in Volume 1, which is that, there's a lot of stuff here. It's very far-reaching. And there's stuff in here that should be of interest to people of all persuasions, whether you're left or right. You know what I mean? This is something that, the left of 2004 would be very, very interested in. Back when the Iraq War was going on, they'd be very interested in this.
Oh, absolutely. By the way, I just dropped that Ryan Chapman link about why people hate Elon Musk. It's a very interesting video from a guy who's not really political. It's just kind of an outsider looking in on this. Traditionally, this is the left's bread and butter. The left were the ones who go and protest the Pentagon.
Of course,
we're living in crazy land where the people most likely to be skeptical of DOD narratives are conservatives, people we would call conservatives. It's nuts. It's cats and dogs living together. It is nuts. It is nuts to have a left that is not all over this.
Right. Yeah, no, I think that's absolutely right. Especially something like this. Especially this.
Yes. This is the core of the left. This kind of conspiracy on the part of the Pentagon, deep suspicion of the Pentagon, deep suspicion of the intelligence agencies, that has always been core. This is something that I know there's documentation about this out there. The intelligence agencies actually sat down in the 70s and they planned this. They said they're going to infiltrate the media. And they're going to do to the media in America what they do to the media in foreign countries. They're going to influence it. They're going to do, campaigns of narrative management in America. Basically, they took what they did in South America and they brought it home. They said they were going to do it. They did it. And now we're here. That's amazing. They took a left that was so fucking crazy. They went and did a whole ceremony of trying to levitate the Pentagon and turn them into lapdogs to the intelligence services. I mean, can you imagine thinking you're on the left and watching these ghouls paraded out on the news networks as experts reporting on the agencies they were once a part of, and to unskeptically watch that like, oh, yes, these are our spies. These are our people. They're doing good things.
Yeah.
Right. That's what they do to you. How else could you watch a former CIA agent report on the CIA with no skepticism?
Yeah, I mean, this was years back, but do you remember? I'm probably not remembering all the details right because it was a few years ago. Was it when Trump spoke at the CIA and he spoke in front of the wall of the names of the dead CIA agents, and you had the media ringing, "Oh, what a disgrace. He's insulting the CIA." Or I don't know if he was there, but something about the wall of dead CIA agents. I remember that.
Yeah, it was Trump.
They were crying about that. Okay, so he gave a speech there, and then they started saying what a disgrace, what an insult it was to all these heroes who died protecting our freedom. Yeah, right. Yeah, like that. Could you imagine the Bush era left swallowing that? No, of course not. Of course not. I mean, we're not even talking about ancient history. You don't got to go back to the 60s for this, but the early 2000s, right? And it's just amazing. It really is.
These are the same people who lined up for good night and good luck when Bush was president, and they turned into the people that Murrow was fighting against.
Yep. Absolutely. No doubt about that. No doubt about it. Unrelated. But I just started season 2 of The White Lotus because we're going to start our Dissident Film Club up in January. We're going to start doing some more sort of film and TV related content as a sort of sister show within a show. It'll be on this channel, but we'll have a separate category on the channel for it. Did you watch any of that? Did you watch the first season?
I watched the first. I watched the first episode.
Of the first season or of season 2?
Of the first season. That's it. I've seen one episode.
Yeah. Okay. All right. It's interesting. I mean, the misanthrope in me likes it. It's about how dull and uninteresting and self-absorbed rich people are.
Yeah.
And which is, I mean, that's fine. I think it got that right. But
I mean, I thought it was good.
yeah, it was fine. It was
Yeah.
fine. It's the kind of thing where like we just finished the first season. We started season 2 just now. I watched 45 minutes out of the first episode. Then I had to come in here and do this. Yeah, but it's the same thing. Like if you've watched the first episode, you pretty much have watched the whole thing. That's what it's about. It's about how vapid and dull and self-obsessed and shallow and absurd and just utterly empty a lot of these rich fucks are. Like I said, as someone who worked in New York City tourism for years, I already knew that. I don't need to watch 12 hours of drama about that.
I only have one company I work for where, okay, this company, which shall not be named, it started out a safari company. And who takes a safari? I mean, with porters carrying the baggage. It started out that way.
Yeah.
And the son inherited that. And whereas most of us who didn't grow up the sons of the owner of a safari company would think it would be amazing to spend your youth taking multiple trips to Africa, this guy never wanted to leave the fucking United States again. He was like, I'm turning this into a New York company. I never, here's my passport. I'm never leaving again. I was just like traumatized by going on these trips as a kid. So, but he inherited his father's clients. And who were they? They were these super rich people. And yeah, they were crazy in ways you could only be crazy if you're rich, because if you could be fired, you'd have to pull that back.
Exactly right.
You couldn't act like this.
Right.
Yes. Only that company where, look, other companies I work for, anybody who's paying $100 an hour, have a tour guide, or $200 an hour is not hurting for money. But those people were a completely different category.
Yeah, it's a completely different, where you're totally unaccountable to everyone because you're never told no by anyone, and anybody who does, you could just get rid of them and replace them with someone who's
like there's just
yes.
weird, creepy, crazy family dynamics that something out of a fucking Raymond Chandler novel. Yeah, very strange. Where you're like, somebody's going to wind up like shooting somebody at dinner eventually and blaming it on a burglar or something with these fucking people.
Exactly. Killing Hope by William Bloom is one of the best books that documents CIA interventions since World War II. I will look that up. I will look into that. Absolutely. And thank you, Tusker, for the donation. Yeah, when I was, that's a brief tour guide story since we're coming in short here, in case anybody wants to hear. But it's like one of these types of people. So they booked, this company I worked for, they booked a private chauffeur-driven tour. And what we would do is we would just call a car service, like a black car service, and the driver would sit in the driver's seat. He would drive, and I would sit in the passenger seat, and I'd tell him where to go and point out all the stuff. And then we would get out and take pictures when they wanted, Anyway, the driver shows up. This is a very, very rich couple. They were nice, but they were, like I said, just crazy rich, you could tell. And the thing is, these car services, we never exactly knew which car was going to show up. Like, most of them were nice. Most of them were black cars and SUVs, and we would request that, but there was no guarantee. So this guy shows up in like a fucking bright red like Jeep. It was the weirdest fucking car, and he's got like, the raccoon tail hanging from the rearview mirror in the front, and so they were a little weirded out by the car. They were fine about it. They loved the tour. They loved me. So they said, "Hey, Keaton, we'd like to hire you out tomorrow to take us around. We'll come up with a custom itinerary." And he said, "We have a driver. When we come to New York, we have a driver who's on standby for us." Like I said, this is the kind of money these people have.
Yeah.
So, we loved the tour. We loved you. We weren't crazy about the car. So we're going to have our car drive us around, right? So, come up with a game plan. Pizza is one of the things. Oh, we want the best slice of New York pizza, right? That's not like all the way out in Brooklyn, right? I'm not going to take them 2 hours out of the way for it. But so I have an idea of where I'm going to take them, which is one of the best slices in the city, I thought, which was Bleecker Street Pizza. Now it's new owners.
The Nona,
yeah,
baby.
The Nona. The Nona's a great slice. Okay, so you know it.
That's it.
That's a great slice.
Best in breed, baby.
Yeah, it's a Tuscan style New York pizza slice. It's great. Unfortunately, that's changed ownership, so that's nowhere near what it used to be. But the Nona slice is great, and it's right in the way. It's right on the corner of Bleecker and 7th Avenue South, so it's right on the way. So I got, okay, this is where I'm taking them, right? For the, an authentic, great New York pizza. So we get in the car, and this is the way these people are. They're very nice, but they don't respect you at all. They don't actually listen to any fucking thing you say. It's so
Right.
weird.
Yeah. You're a servant.
Like,
you're
a servant.
Yep.
So they don't actually hear. They're not actually absorbing anything you're telling them, even the so-called information, right? You're a servant. And so we're riding up 6th Avenue. This is not the pizza portion of the tour, but we're riding up 6th Avenue. And Russell, there's the Grimaldi's like kiosk type restaurant in that church there. I forget the name of that church.
That used to be Limelight.
Yeah. But now
that was like the last hot nightclub in New York.
Yeah.
Now that whole nightclub culture is gone.
Well,
like there is no such thing as a famous nightclub in New York anymore.
Yeah, no, not really.
Not
down
like
in
that.
Meatpacking, there's
like
a little bit, but
the
it's not
Limelight was the Studio 54 of its day.
Right, exactly. But that Grimaldi's was in that church on 6th Avenue and 20 something. And so we're driving up 6th Avenue, and Grimaldi's, the real Grimaldi's, which is under the Brooklyn Bridge or right off of the Brooklyn Bridge, is a famous place. It's like the old coal oven, old world Neapolitan style pizza. A lot of tourists, when they come to New York, it's in the book of like the best slices, right? So the guy's wife says, "Oh, Grimaldi's, that's the best in New York, right?" And I'm thinking, yeah, Grimaldi's is good. Yeah, Grimaldi's. She says, "Well, why don't we go there?" I said, "Well, I have a slice picked out, because the thing about Grimaldi's is a pain in the ass because you got to sit down and order a whole pie and it's a whole thing. It's really not New York pizza. It's old world Italian pizza.
Yeah.
It's not the essence of what New York pizza is. No. It's fine, but it's not the best, and it doesn't give you the New York slice experience the way the Nona would, right? And that's where I wanted to take them. So I said, Grimaldi's is good, but it's sit down. It's not really the full like New York thing. I said, I know a place that I think you guys will love. It'll coming up later on the tour. This woman clearly did not absorb a single word I said. She says, "Okay, great, Carlos," or whoever the driver was, "pull over. We're gonna go in."
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm sorry, am I here? I told you. I literally just said, no, I said this place is okay, but there's another place that I have in mind that I'm going to take you to. She acted like I just affirmed what she said. She clearly didn't hear a word. Okay, pull over. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, people are fucking nuts. We get in, we go into the place. We sit down at a table, which, again, if you want the authentic New York slice experience, this is not the way it goes, right? But they go in, they sit down at a table. The place is fucking empty, which is a red flag that it's not the best pizza in New York because it's lunchtime. Right. A pizzeria should not be empty at lunchtime. Right. She tells the waiter, she says, "Keaton here says that this is the best pizza place in New York City." I'm like, I did not say any of this, but at this point, I just have to play along because I have no choice. What am I going to start a fight with her? At this point, I'm like, yeah, no, this play, and I've never even had the Grimaldi's from there, But at this point, I'm just playing along. I'm like, yeah, no, this is the best, I guess. If you say that's what I said, then that's what I said. You're paying me well enough. Yeah, but that's how they are.
No, yeah. Like right in the middle of talking. Oh, and so this is Grand Central Terminal. Like they'll get like, "Okay, bored now," and just walk away. Like in the middle of a sentence. They'll just it's very weird. Like that's not like money. That's 1%er money.
Oh yeah.
That's a level of money where you just don't have to care what anyone thinks about your behavior. Yeah. And over time that just erodes your social skills to the point that your behavior is psychopathic. And there have been studies on this that the more look, the sex bot is back. The more money you have, the more psychopathic people become. That's an example of it because that's psychopathic. The people are talking to you and you just no. Okay.
You just leave.
Just mid monologue, they'll just turn around and walk.
Yeah,
away
they'll just
from you.
I've had that happen
Yep.
before too. That's
Only
what
with people like that, though. Only with people like that.
Yeah, only with people like that. There was this one couple. By the way, thank you, Big Cat's Corner, for the $9.99.
Yeah, I was gonna
Appreciate
say,
that.
let's take some of these comments.
We need strikes to the level of Argentina celebrated their World Cup parade. Pull up the pics. 4 million showed up. Wow. What touring do you do, Russell? Happy birthday. Great show, as always, fellas. Well, thank you, Big Cat's Corner.
Thank you, man. I do everything. I'm a specialist in true crime and mafia history, but I cover anything: art, architecture, literature, music, general history, anything. But yeah, you get me on a crime tour, that's my forte.
I used to do the gangster tours and shit like that. Those are fun. I love
Well,
doing those.
I created my own
the Irish mob
mob tour, and I also do a weird New York tour.
Yeah.
That's just I take people, actually, this is up the alley of this audience. I take people to, there's a place in the Village that was a CIA safe house where they had an agent who posed as an artist who used to just lure people there and dose them with acid, and the CIA would film them through the window, and two-way mirrors. Sometimes they would have prostitutes lure them there and dose them, and then try to coax them to give away personal information. The operation was called, you can't make this up, Midnight Climax. That was the name of the operation. Oh, wow. Yeah, that went on until from 1953 to 1966, right in the Village.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Yeah. The only reason they got busted was they got a new general accountant who went through the books, and the agent in charge was a hardcore alcoholic, and he was spending $2,000 a month in liquor. So once they found out, by then this whole program had gone rogue. Even the director of the CIA didn't know about it anymore.
Right.
Once they tracked it down, they were like, yeah, just burn all the notes, pretend this didn't happen. And it came out later with the church committee.
All right, let me here. Donald grab him by the pussy. Trump. Will Garland move to actually indict Trump? We covered this in yesterday's show at the top. It's hard. It's 50-50. Like I said, I think if Trump's hand were stronger going into 2024, they might do it just to try and disqualify him. I think it's in the Democrats' advantage to keep him in the game as long as possible to make that Republican primary turn into a civil war, because fracturing the Republican Party is really the only chance that the Democrats have for 2024. So will he do that? I mean, I don't know. It's 50-50. I couldn't really guess. But we did a whole, and I actually clipped a segment. So if you want to go watch that, I clipped a 10-minute segment of it that we put up as its own video where you'll hear the full rationale. But thank you.
Yeah, and I argued in that, in brief, the thing's taken on a life of its own. So even though it might not make strategic sense anymore, it might just be too late to stop the momentum behind it in the party. So I'm gonna answer a couple of these. Okay, so one more time. All right, so you see the post here. All right, so that's a kit. My ceiling is so high that I ran out of kit for the middle, and I wasn't going to order a whole new kit. I cut the shelves myself, and they were perfectly fine, but without that middle piece, they're bowing. So that's the deal. It's not my carpentry. It's that I ran out of pieces. Was that an offshoot of MK Ultra? Yes, that's exactly what it was.
Interesting. Who else referenced something? There was somebody had something here about Best in Show and A Mighty Wins, the great Christopher Guest movies.
Oh yeah,
that's actually a good point.
Our new member there, Taya, right?
Taya, she's a new patron.
Yeah.
Mana Talk, Best in Show is an epic depiction of extreme narcissistic pet owners, which seem to be the woke these days. Yeah, that's true. I mean, they are kind of like that. Yeah. They are kind of like that.
That's all those Christopher Guest movies. Are really
the Best in Show was great, as Taya says, and A Mighty Wind. I thought A Mighty Wind was really funny too.
Yeah, it was.
The Fred, it's almost like the Fred Willard characters. The woke are kind of like the Fred Willard, right, just totally in their own world. I love in A Mighty Wind where he interrupts they're the doing rehearsal and says, "Hey, what if I come in the middle of the song and just douse the stage in water?" And then look at like, why would we agree to that?
What I always remember from that movie, like the pomposity of the boomers. I thought it captured it very well, where they had this famous kiss on stage after a performance, and he says, it wasn't just an important kiss for folk music. It was an important kiss for the world.
Yeah, for the world.
It captured those boomer nostalgic docs so well.
Yeah.
How self-involved and self-indulgent they were.
The thing I also love about Best in Show is that they clearly did not train the dogs for the movie. Like, those were clearly not Hollywood dogs. Those were clearly just like cool dogs that they found, in real life. Because you could tell a movie dogs act a certain way. They really relate to the people on the screen, and you could tell they're being directed. These dogs were just like chilling, and it made it even funnier because there are these people obsessed with their dogs, and the dog is just on screen, clearly not being directed by anybody behind the camera. They have supervisors there to make sure they don't get hurt or anything, but the dogs are just chilling the whole time. Dogs are just totally spaced out, not responding to anything. And it makes it funny because it makes their owners look so ridiculous when they're heaping all this praise on them. And the hound is just like fucking just staring off into space. It was great. Yeah, those are great movies. I wish he would do more. He hasn't done one in a while.
Well, they're doing a Spinal Tap sequel.
Oh, they are. Oh, that'll be interesting.
There's going to be. I
wonder if they're going to bring Rob Reiner back for it. That'll be interesting. We'll have to like Rob Reiner again because Rob Reiner was funny in that movie.
Credit where credit is due.
Hey, he was great in that movie. This One Goes to 11. That's one of the most famous comedy scenes ever.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool Blue $9.99. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I discovered Due Dissidence here in 2022. I thank you both for the November 2021 video about realignments in political party coalitions. I appreciate that. I don't even remember which one you're talking about because that was so long ago. But
vaguely do.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about that at length. I don't remember the specific one you're talking about. I've suspected this with some recent electoral maps. Sure, absolutely. But, when you talk about political realignment, there was a more subtle realignment of sorts that happened with the midterms, which is that the cities got a little redder and the rural counties got a little bluer. The cities got paranoid over crime, so they voted a little bit more red than usual. Not that the Republicans flipped New York, but, it was closer. And then because of Roe, a lot of the rural counties got a little bit bluer. The Republicans didn't run up the score. So there was a little mini realignment that's happened even in the past couple of months. Anything you see there?
Yeah, Thelron is really upset about these shelves, man. Are you a carpenter, dude? Look, this is not the cheap ply. This is the 3/4 inch, man. Like,
I mean,
it's not cheap plywood. It's nice finished 3/4 inch plywood. Like, what do you want from me, man?
It has a bit of a Salvador Dali look to it, but it seems structurally sound. I mean, if it hasn't broken,
it's not going anywhere.
No, Russell and I've been doing this show for 3 years now, almost, and they've looked like that the whole time. So I think it'll be fine. Plus, how epic would it be if it did break during the middle of a broadcast?
That would be pretty funny.
That'd be pretty good.
Yes, Keaton does have radio DJ voice. Oh my God, he's all over me, man. This cat.
This guy's a tough critic.
What are you picking on me for, man? Jesus Christ! Just because I found this hoodie in the Airbnb I stayed at in Buffalo doesn't mean what cold was.
Did you find it there? Or did you buy it?
No, literally, this place had like a table set up in the lobby when you came in to the building. It was like, I don't know, 3-4 apartments in this building. He was renting out his Airbnbs. And you could take whatever you wanted. Like, he had like water, he had snacks, and he had clothes. Cool. I saw this. I was like, yeah, I'll take it.
That's great. They're comfortable. I love those. I love a good hoodie.
Yeah.
There's nothing like a good hoodie.
This one's actually, it's very comfortable.
Yeah, there's really nothing like it. There's nothing more comfortable than a loose fitting kind of thick material, so it keeps you warm, but it's loose fitting, so you can move around easily in it. It's very comfortable.
All right, Thelron, listen up, you motherfucker. You fucking come to my house and you fix these fucking shelves. You shut the fuck up.
He says NYC in the house. Maybe he lives in New York. Maybe he can do
come over and fix my fucking shelves.
Yeah.
I'll let you. Come on over, motherfucker. Sure, he wants to keep talking. Don't look, man. Don't be like a lib. Don't complain about a problem. Step up and do something about it.
Oh boy.
You think I look homeless? Come over with some Louis Vuitton for me, man. You know, come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Bring over some nice Versace for me. I won't look homeless anymore. Come on.
All right, so look. All right, so what we're
Be
what
the
we're doing,
change. Be the change you want to see in the world.
maybe what we should do, because we were going to have a little Christmas party this Thursday, but we're going to be on in the afternoon because we have an interview to do. So why don't we do a little New Year's end of the year party? Not on New Year's Eve. Nobody's going to watch that. But maybe like the day before New Year's Eve, like the 30th. We could do a little, just a hangout like this.
All right, hang on.
And we'll open the phone line so everybody can call in. I think we should do that. We can't do it on Thursday.
I agree.
We can't do it this Thursday because we have an interview at 4. We're not going to do twice.
Well, Thursday. Oh, yeah. No, I'm free.
I'm talking about this Thursday. We have an interview at 4 that we're going to do live. So we're not going to come back on at night for a Christmas party. But we'll do, maybe on the 30th, we'll do like, a little evening hangout where we'll post a StreamYard link and anybody can call in. And we'll just do a giant show about nothing where it'll
be a show about nothing.
Your bookshelves. Yeah.
About nothing.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. No, but we'll ban politics from the show.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Okay. So I know House of Yes. I know people who work at House of Yes. Yeah, man. House of Yes. But that's more like the Slipper Room. It's kind of a performance venue. Yeah. It's a nightclub. But it's not a nightclub like we had in New York back in the day. That's not, most people don't know about it. Most people have never heard of it. When you could have said the Limelight
that
to
was
people all over the country.
Right.
And they heard of it. You could have said Studio 54 to people all over the country. They heard of it. House of Yes, who's heard of that? Yeah, even in New York, who's heard of that?
Yeah,
like unless you're a certain kind of person culturally, you never heard of the House of Yes.
Right.
Those nightclubs, everybody heard of. It didn't matter who you were.
Oh yeah, Extra Bulla Secret Show will be on Saturday at midnight our time. Extra Bulla's doing a. By the way, you guys should subscribe to the Extra Bulla show. He's really fun. And he's doing a Festivus show this Friday, the 23rd. Which my wife and I will pop in for a few minutes on that. But that'll be a fun one. See, he's kind of doing the holiday party. He's doing a Christmas party, but it's a Festivus party, right? All right. And so we'll do the New Year's version of that. And we'll open up the phone lines. I'll just post the invite link right here. And anybody can call in and say hi. We'll chill for a little bit. All right, is that everything we got tonight? I mean, yeah. So. What do we say? No. It must be everything we got tonight, right?
Was that I thought that was a decent Jerry Seinfeld. Wasn't it a decent Jerry Seinfeld?
Yeah, I thought that was decent. I thought that was fine.
My Bill Clinton's pretty decent too. I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Exactly. Yeah. I think you do a good Bill.
Yeah.
The one that's hard to nail, we do a good Obama, we do good Bloomberg, we do a decent Bill. The one who's really hard to nail is Trump because there's so many interpretations of Trump. Right. And there's so many versions of Trump.
Whenever I do Trump, I sound like comic book guy.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's hard. It's not easy. All right, everybody. Well, thank you guys very much for watching. This has been our...
Look, now Extra Bull's like, oh, man, I fucked up. I didn't really want Russell. But now that Keaton mentioned that he's going.
Well, just I
got invited.
No, obviously we're both invited. But the thing is,
I'm kidding around.
But the thing is, you don't have the Do Dissidents Twitter handle. You have your Twitter handle. So Extra Bull has only included me on the group chat. But you could add Russell. Russell's on Twitter, so you can add him to that group chat as well.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Now that Elon has
you caught us
has unbanned me.
Yeah, Elon's unbanned him. Sick Komodo, cough it up, you cheap bastards. Yeah, Sick Komodo finally caught
more money.
Thank you.
Yo, Felron, man, if you give me $130, I'll order the rest of this kit, and I'll put in the middle part.
If you pay me the money, yeah, that's funny.
I was not going to spend $130 for like one piece. I was just like, fuck it. I just wasn't going to do it.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like the books are going to get down. I mean, worst case, it falls. It's a book. It's not like you got, China up there.
Yeah. Come on. That's fine. I mean, the only thing I really care about there is my little friend here. So hopefully that doesn't get injured. Because I don't think they make that anymore. I bought that in New Orleans. And when I was just here this last time, a lot of those people who made those knickknacks went out of business. Like I could not find that design, and it was very common before. Did we meet a beauty bar? I don't think so, but good New York knowledge there.
All right, I think that's everything we got. Well, thanks guys for hanging out with us. This was fun. This has been our very concise and professional coverage of the Twitter Files Volume 8. So we hope you guys enjoyed that. And we will see you guys again. Oh yeah, so in case anybody joined late, I'll repeat what I announced at the beginning of the show. Tara Reid has a conflict tomorrow that she informed me of earlier this morning. So we are going to postpone that interview with her until January. But it will happen. It will happen. We're not just stalling. But it will not happen tomorrow. So we did plan on being live tomorrow at 8. We will not be live tomorrow at 8. I hope to have that liberal leftist podcast that I'll put out as a premiere at 8 p.m. So there will be some content on this channel tomorrow at 8, but it will not be that interview. Alrighty. Well, maybe we should do a carpentry show. Seems like we got a lot of opinions about...
Dude, if I'm going to do that, I would just order the kit.
Right.
I know what you're... Listen, man, I ran 5 theaters. I know exactly what you're saying. It's not worth, especially with what lumber costs now. If I'm going to do that, why don't I just get something that matches the rest of the thing? Like, yes, I could build that, but I'm not going to bother.
It gives it character, It gives the show character. The fact that you
got at this point, I feel like it's a landmark.
Yeah, it's
part of the set.
It's part of the set. Exactly. There are probably
if I were to
people...
fix that, I think we would lose about 100 subscribers.
Well, I mean, we might not gain them as quickly as we have because there are people who say, I stare at Russell's bookcase the entire show. There are probably people who were just transfixed by that bookshelf, weren't particularly interested in what we were saying, and maybe by the end of the episode, they decided to give us a sub. You know what I mean?
Right. So. Or some people who have stayed subscribed because they're so transfixed by the bookshelf, they don't realize we're total assholes.
Yeah, right.
If they were to actually start listening to us.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Then we'll run into problems.
There goes that. All right, everybody. Well, thank you very much. We will see you back here. Well, we won't see you. Actually, no. Does this mean there's no live stream before? Oh, no. Yeah, no, there is. There's one on Thursday afternoon. I was going to say, this can't be our last show before Christmas. No, it's not. We'll be back here Thursday afternoon at 4 o'clock. Until then, everybody, be safe, be well. Thanks very much. See you next time.
Please clap.